Using research to inform practice. The Scottish Government's Early Years Framework points to the importance of using research and other evidence to ensure that our work with families is rooted in robust rationales and not simply in habit and hearsay.
Personally, I get very excited about recent research, and I think that I'm the person that walks in the room and goes, have you read, and isn't this exciting? I think for our practitioners, we've worked really hard at being excited about what research can tell us. So rather than thinking, oh, this is hard and I'm not sure whether I can understand this, or I'm not sure how it will impact on my practice, we've worked really hard at encouraging people to see the excitement that research can bring. I think it's absolutely vital that we look at the research for what research can tell us about the youngest children in our society, and that we use it as a way of helping us to appreciate what we do well, but also helping us to think, oh, has this got some interesting questions for us? Is that going to open up an area that I haven't really been confident in before, or maybe I have felt confident, but actually it's going to give me a new angle to look at. The new research, for example, on brain development has given us so many, it's given our practitioners a lot of confidence in the fact that they really have an important role with children and families, so they felt much more appreciated. But going along with that is, okay, now what are you going to do about that? I think that if you look at research in a very open way, it can help you ask questions about your practice, not just in the area that research looks at, but about your practice in all sorts of different ways. So if you're able to be a reflective practitioner, it can really strengthen your practice by helping you to work out where you need to do a little bit of work, tweak, think about improvement planning, or whatever system that you have for looking at your practice in your playroom.
Most staff would agree that being able to explain their practice by citing evidence gives confidence and credibility to both the providers and users of a service.
The research is outstanding in terms of early brain development and the significance of early intervention, but the task for practitioners is how that translates into practice, not just for themselves, so that they're looking at the developmentally appropriate environment and making sure that the experiences that are on offer absolutely recognise what early brain development tells us about children being active, concrete, sensory learners. But the challenge to practitioners is also, how can we take parents along in that journey? How can we impart that knowledge in an open, accessible and sensitive way with parents, so that it's staged at a level that parents can engage with and can really, really be key players in that significant process.
Throughout this pre-birth to 3 national guidance, there is a clear focus on the importance of evidence-based practice. This Using Research to Inform Practice section reflects on how can we make the very best possible use of research.
Within Croftamie, we're all learners and we're all researchers, and this is something that we've come to understand is absolutely essential in working with young children, role modelling, but also for our own development and our own learning. We as a team have come together and developed the professional learning community model, where we would sit and discuss observations of children or issues around our practice, so that we in ourselves are engaging in the dialogue and the discussion of what we want to take forward and how we want to take forward. It may also be that we're going off to do some research, one on our own and bringing it to share with our colleagues, but also with children. We research with children together and we share things as we go along, so we're collaborators in our learning.
Sections within the guidance highlight academic research, such as on the significance of brain development. However, sometimes it is easy to forget that research can simply be an everyday activity where we find out what we can about something so that informed decisions are made.
It's so important that we keep up to date with research because it gives us the skills and gives us the tools to actually work directly with children in a way that meets their individual needs. Staff now have an individual responsibility for their own CPD. CPD is changing for staff. There is far wider resources out there to use within internet, within the use of actual things like Glow, which is a fantastic teaching resource. So staff now have got an opportunity to actually go forward with their own learning and to make sure that their learning is progressive for them within each stage of their development and to ensure that this impacts on their practice.
Research is regarded by many staff as a useful tool, ensuring high-quality provision for all children. Finding out what has been shown to work before making decisions relating to practice makes sense and helps strengthen the bridge between research and practice.
Our learning journey has been quite extensive. We've had some highs, had some lows, and we've realised that actually upon reflection and through training that we're not as good as we thought we were. And we thought, well, we can either be defensive and say we're not changing, or we can put our hands up and say, well, for the benefit of these children and these families, we need to change our practice. So we did. We had to take a hard look at what we were doing, and we changed it based on the new current practice that we had been receiving through training, through CPD. We want to encourage extra research. We can go read some new books, go on the internet, find out more information. This influenced our practice because we realised that with attachment theories, more importantly, some of the children transitionally coming from home or from grandparents into the playroom, we felt that the children didn't want to leave mum because their attachment wasn't secure. Based on the knowledge and the training that we received, we knew that this was actual fact and that we weren't just saying the child was being awkward. We were realising that this was factual, their brain hadn't developed enough or their attachment hadn't been secure. So we then used our knowledge and understanding to help the parents maybe stay in the playroom a wee bit longer and guide them through the transition a wee bit easier.
It's essential, I think, as a child practitioner to keep up to date with research, whether it be sort of personal out with work that you're doing your own reading or things, or you're doing it within work, just so that you are keeping up to date with all the changes. Childcare's changing all the time, so it's essential that you make sure that so that you're offering the best quality care and good practice for yourself, just sort of so you can self-evaluate and make sure that the work that you're doing is the best to your ability. So research is always vital, I feel.
What can staff do to strengthen the research into practice bridge? Talk about research findings with colleagues, children and parents. Share findings around what works by making use of Learning and Teaching Scotland's online resources, Glow, as well as other websites. Include research as a useful professional development tool. Capitalise on children's natural sense of curiosity to help them adopt a finding out culture so that research is regarded as a natural tool. It is important that all staff recognise their responsibility in taking forward the implementation of the early years framework.
I think it's important to develop Scotland's early years workforce because we're looking after children, the most vulnerable people in the world, and we need to make sure that we are all qualified to the utmost, the highest level we can be. SSE ensure that we all have to be registered, we all have to maintain our standards, and we all have to keep up with the current legislation and current practice.
I started working at Doune Nursery 8 years ago, where I had completed my HNC, and straight away at this nursery I could see the benefits of continuing in your learning as an educator. It didn't just stop at your HNC. The culture here was very much encouraged you to progress in your learning because Marion and at the time our senior Karen, they were both studying, and the enthusiasm, the motivation that they used to bring into the nursery and the knowledge they had, you just wanted to be part of that and you just wanted to learn more. And in turn, what was really important was actually seeing it in action. It wasn't they just learned this and that was it. It was put into action into the nursery environment, and in turn you could see the benefits children got from that. And Marion had encouraged me to go and do the BA, and it's got to be the best thing I've ever done because not only that, you meet other people from other councils and you share practice and you learn from each other, but you share what you know as well. and you just get so in depth about the children, about families, about society, about how important children are, and it just makes you feel more confident at what you're doing.
As the framework emphasises, using relevant research meaningfully and regularly impacts positively on practice, leading to high-quality provision for Scotland's youngest children.